From the National Weather Service in Raleigh, it's Nick Petro with your routine Thursday weekly briefing for Central North Carolina. And the weather today is a little more than routine, I suppose, with the severe thunderstorm threat. So we'll get to that in a minute. This briefing covers from today through the 6th of April. And let's just jump right into the current weather situation. I like to start off with these maps that overlay a lot of data here, and a couple things I'll point out. Number one, here's our line of showers and thunderstorms moving across the western Piedmont of North Carolina and upstate and central South Carolina. You could see there's some yellow. Well, let me go ahead and just kind of stop it. Let me put the latest frame here, and a couple things I'll point out. Number one, these yellows you see here are more or less just pockets of heavy rain. You have to get down into, and I'm sorry, the yellows over top additional yellow. It makes it kind of hard to see, lack of contrast, but that's what my highlighter color is now. This line right here it has some lightning and is more of the thunderstorm variety. So from just east of Greenville, South Carolina, south of Charlotte, west of Columbia, and that line right there is more of the thunderstorm variety, if you will. Other thing I'll notice here, there's a lot of clouds over central North Carolina. There's a few breaks. You see this here along the I-95 corridor, a couple breaks in the clouds. But if we had more sunshine, I would be much more concerned about severe thunderstorms if this, say, was, clear or even just partly cloudy out ahead of this line of showers. So obviously, we want to maximize heating to energize those thunderstorms. Nevertheless, there's plenty of wind in the atmosphere. You see how windy it is right now, even outside of thunderstorm activity. Let me put on here wind gusts. Okay, and you'll see right now there are some pretty strong wind gusts. Raleigh-Durham International is gusting to 21 knots, which is 23, 24 miles per hour. Fayetteville's gusting to around 29 knots. So lower 30 mile per hour or so. Greensboro is gusting to 24 knots, so 26, 27 miles per hour. So we're going to see that. That's going to be the common. Look at down south in South Carolina here. This is kind of crazy windy here. 46 knots outside of thunderstorm activity. That's just really, really windy. So and I know a lot of folks have recently told me, hey, this spring has been really, really windy. Even outside of thunderstorms. And I agree. This has been one of the windier springs that I've experienced here in central North Carolina. I haven't quite put my finger on why that's the case, but I'm sure we'll be taking a look at that. But the thing is when you get these wind gusts, above 30, close to 40, and a little bit higher, then any weak trees will have the potential to fall. And certainly, you add in a even stronger gust with one of these thunderstorms later, and perhaps that's going to be maybe what we see in terms of the character of the damage. So anyway, that is our main concern: straight line winds with any of the stronger storms later today. The cold front that's actually causing all of this is further to the west. If I put on here temperatures, you could probably see where the actual cold front is. Look at these readings back here in the 40s and then readings in the 60s. So the actual cold front is right here, right along that real sharp cloud line. You see that? I'll clear that up so you can see it. But there's some showers even right here, but there's a really thin but well-defined cloud line right here. That's the actual cold front. So anyway, the colder air is back behind it. It's going to take a while. It usually has to find its way around the mountains and down from the north. So to get to us, so we're not going to get the brunt of that cold air, but that's basically what's driving all of this. And it's not unusual for showers and thunderstorms to be well ahead of the actual cold front. We call these prefrontal showers and thunderstorms. All right, so that's what we've got going on right now. Let's get back to the slide so I can show you how this is all going to play out. Of course, we are in a slight risk. And actually, let me go right back to the, sorry to be bouncing around all over the place here. But one other thing I want to show you here, this is the Storm Prediction Center severe thunderstorm outlook rather. And you can see the yellow is the level 2 out of 5. The dark green is the level 1 out of 5. So where you see the yellow, that's where the greatest risk for severe thunderstorms will be. I suspect that as the day goes on, the Storm Prediction Center is going to trim back this yellow here behind the band of rain, because obviously, that should be, stabilizing a bit now. So this will probably be trimmed back, the western edge, but certainly along and ahead of this line, that's where the Storm Prediction Center is highlighting the best risk for severe storms. Okay, so the timing is this afternoon and evening. We'll get to that here in just a minute. But damaging wind gusts, you can never rule out an isolated tornado with a vigorous system like this. There could be a few patches of flash flooding. That we don't expect to be a widespread problem, but you can never rule it out with the heavier storms. And then again, we don't want to let our guard down for or for wind gusts, that is, wind gusts even outside of thunderstorm activity between 30 and 40 miles per hour. So, theoretically, there could be wind damage pretty much any time of the day, anytime with the winds as gusty as they're going to be. And then you add on top of that a thunderstorm. So anyway, scattered thunderstorms is really the definition of slight risk. That's what level 2 out of 5 is. Scattered thunderstorms, not widespread so much, but more in the way of isolated intense storms and scattered severe storms. So anyway, that's what level 2 out of 5 means. And here's the radar simulations for today. And this particular model is probably more of what I might describe as the worst case scenario. Because it looks like some of our other models that do radar, that allow for radar simulations, aren't quite as robust as this one. So I'd like to give the sort of the more of a worst case scenario. I think the risk for severe weather is probably, less out in the triad area because you're already getting rain and that's stabilizing you. But if we go back to, going back to the radar, you can see where is it not raining right now? Well, it's basically not raining east of that line. And consequently, that's where the temperatures are the warmest. You see that 70s, mid 70s, low 70s versus mid 60s where it's raining. So if you basically, and I'll just see if I can zoom in real quick, because and then I'll have to redraw that line, of course. Bear with me here for just a second. So basically along and east of that line, you see that's where the air is the warmest, right? So as these storms move to the north and east, and as they progress eastward, and they encounter that warmer air that hasn't been cooled by rain, that's where I would expect the higher risk, if you will, of more in the way of severe storms. And that's what these radar simulations are suggesting. Notice how real scattered these convective elements are. Like here's one here, here's one, very scattered, very spread out, kind of the same around 330. These, but look down here to the south. That's a better organized line of storms. And notice how it really congeals, and you've got a nice line of storms around 5 p.m. right where that warmer air is that I just pointed out here on this slide. So as soon as those storms encounter that warmer air, then certainly that will allow them to become better organized. And look at this right here. I mean, even suggestive of maybe a couple discrete cells that might even have the opportunity to have rotating updrafts basically along and east of I-95, because that's where it will be the warmest. That's where it will rain the latest and consequently be the warmest. So these storms along and east of I-95 will probably have the better chance to go severe on us. Okay, so I guess if you kind of I guess you can kind of characterize it by saying, if you are west of the US 1 corridor, you're probably less likely to see severe storms. If you're east of the US 1 corridor, and particularly along and east of I-95, that's where you're more likely to see these severe storms, but particularly late this afternoon and this evening. Now, once we get to the late evening hours, 9, 10, 11, then everything will be shifting east and ending. So this is more of a late afternoon and early evening event. And again, best chance for severe weather east of US 1, where the air is warmest right now. And but I do want to mention that even west of US 1, it's pretty windy. So that's why I wanted to show this map right here. So windy today, even outside of thunderstorms. We're expecting wind gusts in the lower 40s miles per hour. So do keep that in mind, that you're not going to have to be in one of these stronger cells to encounter a downed tree or two or maybe even three. So do watch out for that. Okay. So that's the main takeaways with this afternoon's thunderstorm activity and severe weather risk. Again, I think the greatest risk is going to be east of where it's raining right now. Okay, so that'll be the main weather story really in the next 6 days. The showers and thunderstorms today, a couple of them severe, windy even outside of the storms. And then it looks like it should be mainly dry. After we get through this evening, it should be mainly dry right through Tuesday. Now, there is an opportunity for a stray shower east of I-95 Saturday night, but that's going to be very few and far between. I think most places will stay dry. So again, we should have the main, after we get past this evening, I think the main concern as we head through the weekend is going to be cold temperatures for early agriculture and early gardening and folks who have put stuff outside. There will be some isolated patches of frost Friday night and again Sunday night into Monday morning. So Friday night into Saturday morning, maybe some patchy frost, and again Sunday night into Monday morning, again a few patches of frost. And then middle of next week will be our next chance of rain, Wednesday on. All right. In terms of how much rain are we going to get, these storms should be fairly quickly moving, and outside of the storms, the rainfall amounts should be pretty light. So while it may be raining outside of thunderstorms, those amounts will be pretty light. The thunderstorms will have the heaviest downpours, but those will be fairly quickly moving. So the way we're characterizing this is an inch or less of rain today. Okay, so an inch or less. There could be a few spots that get maybe a little over an inch where thunderstorms train, but for most everybody, it'll be an inch or less of rain today. Then dry through the weekend into early next week. In terms of our flash flood potential, the risk is low, but it's non-zero. So we don't want to completely rule out flash flood potential. I think it's there, but the heavier storms should be moving fast enough to limit any widespread or prolonged flash flooding events. There could be, a few spots that see, a decent amount of water that collects, but then it shouldn't last too long. And again, those should be pretty isolated. Once we get past today, there's really no severe weather risk for Friday through the weekend into early next week. So a quiet period of weather then. In terms of the 8 to 14 day outlook, it looks like it's going to be chilly just to our west next week, but really no signal for wet or dry in the 8 to 14 day outlook. So we'll deal with those weather events one at a time as they come at us. In terms of the drought, the worst drought is still east of I-95. So we'll keep our fingers crossed that maybe today's weather event might help alleviate some of this. But that's where the worst of the drought lingers, is east of I-95. All right, so that wraps up our Thursday weather briefing. The main takeaway is a cold front will set the stage for some showers and thunderstorms today. It'll be windy today, even outside of thunderstorm activity. So just be aware that, it's not just the storms that are going to have that risk for bringing trees down. That could happen even outside of a thunderstorm, given how windy it is. And then outside of a stray shower east of I-95 Saturday night, aside from that, it's going to be mainly dry tonight through the daytime Tuesday. Now, again, just want to reiterate, and this has been the main topic, is a couple of today's thunderstorms could be severe with damaging straight line winds, the main threat. And I will point out, east of where it's raining right now, I think is the place that has the best chance to see strong storms. Again, one more time, I'll show that map. Here's where it's raining right now. And actually, this is brand new. Let me click on this to see. Here's a mesoscale discussion from the storm prediction. So this literally is hot off the press here. And let's see here. It says, well, that's for the watch. Let me see here. This is a tornado watch. Okay, so this is mainly for folks to our south. So, but anyway, the main thing I wanted to point out here is the rain that is the best chance for severe storms should be east of where it's raining, east of the US 1 corridor. Okay. And lastly, Friday night and Sunday night will be quite chilly with the low temp readings from the mid 30s, maybe to around 40, and isolated patches of frost are possible. Okay. So that's what I have for today's weekly briefing for Thursday, your Thursday update.